So the question is, how cold does it get in Central Florida? Well, guys, it's a beautiful winter wonderland here in February. We are currently 29 degrees. And you can see the bananas are pretty well frosted and frozen. I don't have my thermometer, it's up by my house, but we got down to 27 degrees last night, and it's 29 right now. So, as for bananas go, they're gonna look like crap. You can see they're good and frozen. You know, hovering around 27. You know, it's almost 26 degrees. Probably got a little cooler in some spots of my property. They're frozen. Starting to defrost a little bit. So, everybody always wants the cold tolerant bananas. I hear you. And honestly, there are no really cold tolerant bananas that are going to survive without losing some greenery. You know, their leaves are always going to get damaged. It's just what it is. Even these snow bananas, the basso, you know, those guys freeze. Don't fall for that bull crap. Now the thing is though, once you get outside of the Cavendish group, most bananas are very cold tolerant. Yeah, that's the term you gotta use. That leaves frozen solid. And they survive just fine. It's not a big deal. You can see these leaves are frozen, but that stalk is going to be just fine. No issues whatsoever. And on most varieties, the stalk is going to survive easily down into the high, low 20s, 24 degrees, no issue. You might start losing some of it, even if you lose it to the ground. You're not going to kill your bananas, guys. They will grow right back as soon as it warms up. And yeah, these are frozen. Gosh, these are frozen. So it is 27 up by my house, so I can't imagine out here. Might have even gotten down to 25-ish. But outside of that Cavendish group, which they start really stressing and dying in the 50s, even 50s, 60s, those guys can start showing a lot of stress damage, yellowing, dying back. So we'll exclude those guys from this little talk. Once you get into the other groups, like I said, most bananas can take it fairly well. Some better than others. You know, those with genetics from, you know, the Basso bananas and stuff like that do a lot better. These are the Orinoco's, of course. The two main groups, and I've got over 100 varieties of bananas, guys. And I don't always include the varieties in that group. Like Orinoco, for instance. This is a whole row of Orinoco varieties. All different varieties. Generally, these guys are extremely cold tolerant. They do very well with cold. A light frost, they have no issue with this. This is a pretty good freeze. Those leaves are already turning black, you can see. And that's a good freeze. Every single one of these leaves will be dead in the next few days. But the Orinoco group overall, the Blugo group, very cold tolerant bananas. But also, they tend to be the group that people aren't as enamored with. People rank on the poor Orinocos really bad. But they're hardy bananas. They take poor soil, they take the cold really well. And as soon as it warms up, these guys will be resprouting, no issue. Unless your ground freezes solid, you're not going to kill these guys. And heck, just some heavy mulch and they'd survive and regrow and probably fruit the same year. The next most cold tolerant group that I have would be the Namwas, which again, that's a large group. You know, you throw in all the Namwa cultivars and even the blue Java, the ice cream bananas. Those guys are fairly cold tolerant. Not as cold tolerant as the Orinoco's I've noticed over the years, but same thing. They're so vigorous, as soon as it warms up, they start taking off again, pumping out new leaves. These here go into the palm group of bananas. You've got the Brazilians and apples and stuff here, and you can see about the same. They do not like the cold as much. They don't recover as well from it. But again, they're going to survive. And then right here are some of these so-called synthetic bananas. You know, the man-made hybrids. These are 3640s, FHI 3, the Goldfinger, the Sweetheart, the what's it called, Mona Lisa, FHI 18. That's what this row is right here. And again, some, depending on their their background, some of those hybrid bananas, the newer ones that weren't made naturally by, a little cold, sorry, you know, nature. Depends on those. Some do better than others. The 3640s, they take the damage. A little slow to recover, but they grow extremely fast once it warms up. Out of that group, the best would be the FHI 3, the Sweetheart. Those guys, I'd say, are the most cold tolerant. I've noticed they do really well and recover pretty fast. Everything took damage out here. We're down in the mid-20s for a few hours last night. So everything out here, regardless, every banana variety took damage. Some frost shots for you guys. I don't know if you can hear the ground crunching under my feet. Here's some more damage. And this is a, 6-foot banana, so it's a little far off the ground, and you can see even that completely frozen. We're starting to defrost a little bit with the sun coming up. This here is a variegated dwarf Namwa, and even she's in a little bit of a protected spot here. Took some good damage last night. Not as bad. These leaves might actually survive, but she's in a little bit of a sheltered spot. I don't know if you can see that. There's a little less light here. But the Namwas, especially the dwarves, again, are in that group. They're fairly cold tolerant. The stalks will survive way down into the 20s. Even if the leaves get damaged, it's not that big of a deal. Back up front here. So to recap, guys, everybody wants cold tolerant bananas. Really, that's a misnomer. They're tropical plants. Yeah, some have adapted to be a little cooler, but there are no really true cold resistant bananas. Well, that's not the right word. You know what I'm getting at. When it gets cold, they're going to look like crap. They're going to lose leaves. They're going to slow down in growth. What it really comes down to is selecting your varieties and even microclimates in your property, seeing how they do for you. You want the best dessert bananas, stick with your Namwas, even the talls because they're extremely vigorous, the Orinoco's, and stay away from the Cavendish, guys.